Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Nana's Space where I do reviews of shows, movies, trailers. I watched Maid on Netflix and oh wow. Ah. That's how I felt about it. I was lost for words. Very lost for words. It was a very realistic and moving series about domestic abuse and what women go through. And the people that get caught in the middle, i.e. the children, and the impact it has on their lives. So let's get into it. The actress who plays the maid and the maid's mother are related. Because when I was watching, I was like, oh, there's something about the two of you. There's something about your mannerisms that is quite similar. So I paused and I went and looked them up, and they are related. I'll put their picture at the beginning of this, so if you've not seen it, you'll see. And this chronicles a very young lady who has a daughter and found herself in a very abusive relationship and wanting to get out. But the support that is around her was not right and was just there to maintain the status quo. So her mother was I would say a hippie, gypsy. She liked to call gypsy. Bipolar, doesn't take a medication, has a boyfriend called Basil. Of all the names, mate, Basil. Who had managed to get this lady to change her home deed to this guy's name, and all the rent being paid to the house was going to this dude because he married her, and they're living in a trailer, not looking after the daughter or the grandchild. Okay, so that's them. This is the maid who has a little girl, and I really love that they love this song. It's called Shoot Shoot Beru Shoot Beru Beru. It's a very, very old song, and the little girl kept saying shoot shoot shoot, and that was so cute. So this young girl was trying to get out of this relationship of this guy who was he wasn't physically hitting her per se, but he was getting there. Very, very heavy drunkard who one day broke a glass next to the lady and shattered it, and pieces of it, fragment of it, had fallen into the daughter's hair, the little girl's hair. And then it dawned on her, I don't want to be picking glass out of my daughter's hair. Ever. No one have to do that. So she brought up a plan to move out. The services available, made it quite difficult for her to establish anything. Bureaucratic red tape, filling forms, the shelter that she had to stay in. Eventually found this cleaning service company called Valuable Maids, and she's a writer. Went to different people's houses to clean and make a living, basically minimum wage. So her car doesn't have petrol, food, clothing, somewhere to stay, and she had to make a living. And in that Valuable Maid encounter that she met this lovely black lady, played by Anika Noni-Rose, and a favorite lady. I'm a huge fan of hers. And I like the fact that they did not go with the stereotypical blacks are always the maids, and that is what is depicted in a lot of movies. Go and What the Help. That the affluent person in this movie where she was cleaning was actually a black lady who was with a husband trying to have a child, and the husband had filed for divorce, and this lady was struggling. After she went to the house to clean the first time, she had to leave early, and the lady went and reported that, oh, this cleaner did not clean my house properly, I'm not going to pay her. So because of that money, I think that's £7.50, because she didn't pay her that money, that meant that she couldn't pay for the childcare or be able to look after the child. That meant that the establishment collected the child. Oh, hang on, no. They were on their way somewhere. She had parked the car on the curb, and the little girl whose name I've forgotten. God, my brain is not right with the names. but she dropped her doll and the mum stopped to pick it up. And I think where she stopped wasn't quite right on the road, so someone bushed into them. And they used that as an excuse to collect the child from the mother to the abusive drunkard dad. And the boy's parents were not helpful either. They were just, milking the situation. Whenever the lady had come to see the baby, she was like, oh, she's already showered, she's already clean. Hello, they said she can come and hang out with the baby and give her a shower. Why have you done it already? So that's it. That's the guy and the family. Dodgy. So she went with a friend from the shelter to Anika's house, and they went and stole her dog. And they lived in a very nice island that required a ferry to get there. So obviously you need to get money to get the ferry and blah blah. And she called her to come and get the dog, and Anika's character was like, did you steal my dog? She was about to go off, and the maid was like, you know what? You lost your dog for 5 minutes. I've had my child taken out of my custody. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, yes, you stick it to her. So I think she realized and eventually paid the money, and Anika's character had other maids and realized that this girl was actually better clean than most of them. So she kept requesting for her. So that's how the relationship built. And while the maid was struggling to get about, the guy, i.e. the abusive boyfriend, or whatever he was to her, had a male friend who was very rich, had money, single dad, really, really digs this girl, and was making advances towards her. Like, come and stay with me, I'll give you a car, and I'll arrange for your child to go to school. And obviously, the boyfriend was very jealous. Like, why are you trying to get with my girl? But you're abusing the girl, and he has all of it that you don't have. And men and their ego became like a peeing contest. Eventually, the girl moved to this rich guy's house, and the guy was making advances at her. One night, something happened. She moved back to this abusive boyfriend, slept with him, came back to the rich guy's house, and then the rich guy was like, well, if you're sleeping with him, that's a no-go, because I also want to be with him, and we cannot be doing that on my roof. So, adios. Kicked her to the curb, but he was kind enough to leave his old car with her. Guess what? When he went with the abusive guy, he took the car back. Girl had no minutes on her phone, was stuck indoors, and this fool has taken his car to work. I'm like, lady, you've ended back to square one. Number one reason why abusive women go back to the abuse is finance. My mom always says, a working mind is a different mind. Please, if you can, make your own coins, because men are not charity. Very few, very, very, very few will do for you freely. Most of them, it is laced with requests and wooing tactics. So be mindful. If that's what you're going for, fine. But if that's not what you're going for, be careful, please. So eventually, Anika's character came back because she'd done surrogacy, and the baby had come in called baby Leo, and she was struggling to look after the baby, and the maid was like, I have a child, I can look after your child. She said, oh, no, like, you've not done it professionally. Eventually, she gave in because for 4 days of being with this child, she'd not slept, she'd not eaten, she was struggling, she was not coping. And the girl just, helped her out. And she was like, you're good at this. And they became friends at the end, which was very beautiful. Like, I love the sisterhood in this, that the women were supporting each other. Typically, you have series, movies projecting women as catfighting each other, which in real life, I always say, for evil to persist, good people have to sit and not do anything. Women, we are our own worst enemies. Let me just put it that way. We are our own worst enemies a lot of the time. But it's good to see sisterhood, that other women support, each other. Like the shelter where she was staying, like this Anika's character who helped her out and eventually got her from the house because she had no phone, no car, and eventually she created her own cleaning service and was cleaning and making money. She used to write as well. So she go to people's houses and she clean and she make stories about it. And one of the houses that she went to, the story that she wrote that really stuck on me, was a couple who on outside were like loving couple, but in their house they had 2 separate rooms. So in the guy's drawer had porn magazines and the girl's drawer had like dildos and vibrators. And I'm like, okay. So the couple were not there. They didn't have to say anything, but she saw everything without them saying anything. And whatever she saw, she did a disguise, wrote in her journal, and applied to go to a college for writing. Even that, this fool was saying, oh, you can't take my daughter, blah, blah, fighting me in court. And Anika's character, again, rich lady, got a rich lady lawyer to try and help this maid out. And, they fought him, and eventually the guy was like, you know what? I can't do that. I can't look after the child by myself. I'm not sober enough. So you take her. So gave in, and they moved to, I think it's called Missoula, the places. Mother was put in, the girl's mother was put in a kind of a retention place for her to calm down and take a medication. She got Basil to come and get her out, and then kicked Basil to the curb and went with another guy. So this other guy, they are running a business together. Like she's into painting, right? So an art fair where they're displaying and selling things. This guy just sitting and eating, and he's like, "Oh, can you go and sell that? Can you go and sell that?" I'm like, "Dude, what's wrong with your hands? Why are you not helping?" Like in this series, at least for this first series, there were no male allies. I know it takes two to tango. The world will not be a safe place without both men and women. So this series, the first series, I hope it gets another renewed. But there were no male allies. All the men were trash. I hope that the next one shows what wholesome men look like and the support they can give to women. I look forward to the next series. I'll definitely give it a solid 4.5 out of 5. It's definitely worth watching. For any young lady coming up, before you even enter a relationship, this is what you need to be watching. Okay, and keep your eyes peeled. Men are shady. No offense to men out there. Some are good. I know some good men, but a good majority of them are shady. So be mindful. Okay, on to the next one. Please comment, like, subscribe, and share, and let me know your thoughts about the series Maid on Netflix. Okay, bye.